Hey guys, Gwen here, and this is one of my favorite topics. I'm so excited to be here with you today and talk to you about this. Today just happens to also be Wealth Wednesday, so how convenient that we get to talk about wealth today. My name is Gwen. I am a doctor of audiology, and in 2018, I left my office job to come home and work for myself. And it literally was the best thing that's ever happened to me. I guess it didn't happen to me, I made it happen, but it's literally the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I want to show you over time how you can create the same opportunity for yourself. You know, what we're kind of realizing in this world right now is that the 9 to 5 is not the same 9 to 5 that our parents had, right? Like, it's a different generation. It's not the secure thing to do anymore. We don't have pensions. We don't have jobs that keep us around for 40 years. Like, people move jobs a lot because the sustainability is just not there anymore. Our retirement funds are not the same. Everything has changed in the 9 to 5. So I'm here with you to teach you how to become financially free, because once you achieve that, once you can do that for yourself, then you get to show up 1000% as you, like wholeheartedly you, authentic you. And you know what happens when that happens? You get to serve the world with what you have to offer. You get to serve the world from your heart. That's where that H was coming from. I was thinking about how you will fully understand you. You will fully understand your purpose. And it starts with a couple of simple, easy things. So I want to guide you today with 5 things that you can do right now, today, to get yourself started. And maybe you love your 9 to 5. There are not many people who do, but if you do, that's great. You don't have to leave your 9 to 5. I'm not telling you that all 9 to 5 jobs suck, okay? Maybe it's a 11 to 6. Whatever your job is, okay, I'm just talking about the typical 9 to 5 structured job that most of us do not love, okay? One of the biggest things that someone asked me, and this is exactly how the ball started rolling for me. They actually asked me about this. My husband asked me this question. Before he was my husband, he asked me if I loved life or if I was in love with life. And I want you guys to hear that slight and subtle difference, because you would think like one word can't make all the difference. But when you think about your life and the difference between that in your relationship and also in your job and also in just your every single day, do you love life or are you in love with your life? See the difference there? If you are not in love with your life, what you're doing is not serving you and it's not serving others. And what we want to get to is you in love with your life, in love with yourself, yes. Because once you can achieve that, you can go out and radiate onto everybody else, right? You get to shine your light out onto everybody else. And a little bit of light shined onto this person is going to help them figure out how to shine their light. And it's like this downhill effect, and it just starts, you've climbed up the hill and all of a sudden you're just going down. Okay, so let's look at 5 simple things. And I have my notes because I'm a squirrel and I will talk to you for 35 minutes and not get to my point. So let's break it down. Because the truth is, when we have true, real freedom, then we can show up for everyone else. And you might be here thinking like, because I was once here too, like, why would I want to show up for everyone else? This is my life. Like, I need to show up for me. And that's the mindset that we get in when we just consume, right? When we're just worried about like ourselves and what we have here in our homes and making our bills and living paycheck to paycheck. That is like how 85% of Americans think. It's how 85% of the world thinks, like living to paycheck. So everything is so needy because we need to have that income to make our bills, right? We need to have this in order to have this. Like, we need to have food on the table, so we have to have this amount of money coming in. When we're in that place, that's when the 9 to 5 sucks us dry, because we're not actually like flourishing and working from our heart and doing the things that we love. We're just doing the things that create an income for our family, but maybe not from our heart. Okay, so I want you to live from your heart, because the world will be an absolute better place when you get there. Okay, so we are creating a world for our people. All right, and once we can get there, once we can start to influence other people, you guys, you're going to change the world. I don't believe that there is one brand or one job or one thing for all the people. Okay, just like I don't believe there is one financial investment, one way to do thing, one side gig, one, type of course or whatever you're going to build. I don't believe there's one way for all people. And that's why I feel like we need to dig down to figure out us first before we can go out into the world and create our side gig. But what if your 9-to-5 became your investor in your side job? What if your 9-to-5 became your investor? How can we do that? Let's break it down. I promise you always. So here's what I'm here for. I am here to give you the information. I'm here to teach you the things that I have learned that maybe have been mistakes so that you don't make the same mistakes. Because if I could have had someone who do that for me, I just think about how different that would have been. And I've been able to figure out exactly what I'm here for. And I want you to be able to do the same thing because it just feels so good. All right, let's get to the actual tips for today's video so that you can go take them and you can start your path towards financial freedom, true freedom, creating a side gig, helping you figure out how to be in love with your life, okay? So the first thing that you have to do, you guys, is so simple. It is so simple. You just have to decide and go for it. Okay, if you are sick and tired of your 9-to-5, if you are sick and tired, I say 9-to-5, but when I think back to when I was working in a hospital and in a clinic, it wasn't 9-to-5, you guys. It was 6:30 to 6:30 because I had to get up early. It was an hour at least for me to get to work and I couldn't be late and who knows what traffic would have been. I was driving towards Boston. So you guys, if you guys are from Boston, Boston traffic, it is a freaking nightmare and you just never know when something's going to happen. So 6:30, I would be leaving my house to get to work. And then I'd leave my job at 5 and I wouldn't get home till 6:30 because all of the Boston traffic coming home. So it's never truly a 9-to-5, okay? But if you're sick of it, if you're tired of it, now you just have to make the decision and go for it. That's it. Decide you're going to do something and just go, okay? So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is when will you do it? When I decided that I wanted to create a different life for myself because I wasn't in love with the life that I was living and I was living paycheck to paycheck and I didn't like how it felt and I wanted to create my own income. I said, okay, I'm a new mom. I have a 2-month-old baby. When am I going to do this? I'm working a full-time job. I'm pumping. I'm breastfeeding. I'm making the lunches and making the dinner. When you start to look in your head about all the things that you are doing, sometimes it feels overwhelming. But I promise you, if you find something that you love to do, that lights your fire, you will find the time. Even if it is while you are nursing 30 minutes. It could be in the car, right? Sometimes the things that you need to do are develop your skills and you can listen to things in the car. And we're going to talk about that in another step. Actually, let's just move to step number 3 because it's kind of connected to step number 2. So step number 2 is when will you do it? Just decide your time, okay? Decide the time, write these things down so that you can hold yourself accountable. Step number 3 is maximize your time. So here's what I would do. I dropped my kid off at daycare, and after daycare, I would put a podcast on. I would put a book on that I was reading, like the audiobook in the car, because I had 30 minutes to get to work, sometimes an hour. I worked in 2 different places. So the first time that I worked in a hospital, I had an hour to get to work. And then when I moved to a clinic, I had a half an hour to get to work. So maximize your time, okay? Throw your book on audio in your car, listen to it. Then on my way home from work, I'd listen to another half an hour or an hour worth of a book. Then at night, after I put everyone to bed and I cleaned up from dinner, I would take at least 30 minutes to an hour, stay up and do my work. And plan, right? You've got to find these little slivers of time. Maybe it's a half an hour on your lunch break. Give me 5 minutes and I'll get you a snack. Okay, go ahead. Maybe it's a half an hour on your lunch break, right? Maybe you don't sit at the table with everybody else at lunch and you go to your car and you listen to your book. It doesn't matter what other people think of what you're doing. You don't even need to tell other people what you're doing. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you know that you have a vision, you can see where you're going, you're going to show up and you're going to do the thing because you've already decided and you're going to go. And you've already picked your times, right? And now you're maximizing your time. Where can you maximize your time? Personal development, podcasts, books, listening to the advice of the people who have gone before you are the best things that you can do. All right, that's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to talk about something called Green Gap. You're going to start to hear more and more about this because this is what we did. This is what we are currently doing. Green Gap is similar to Dave Ramsey's Pay Down the Debt, okay? The only difference is, and I'm going to send you to YouTube where you can actually look up Green Gap. The ULA guys teach on Green Gap, and you can find tons of free content on this to just like learn about. But once you know how to do it, you're just going to put it into action, and it's actually super simple. So you look at obviously your income for the month, and you look at your expenses for the month, and you subtract the two, and you're going to end up with a gap. Hopefully, it's a green gap. And what that means is hopefully you have money left over after those things, right? It is possible that you were in a place where you have a red gap, I guess, a red number, where you have more expenses than you do income. And if you listen to the Green Gap, they're going to talk to you about, what to do if you have a red number, what to do if you have a green number. I'm going to tell you what to do if you have a green number. Okay. So you are going to take 10% of that green gap, what you're left over with in the month, and you're going to put that aside for fun. Okay. Maybe you go out to eat one time in a month. You have a date night one time in a month. It is something that you enjoy doing, because if you don't have any joy in life while you're battling towards a goal, while you're like headstrong towards a goal, it's not going to be fun. You're not going to want to do it. 10% you're going to take, and you're going to put that aside for you. And then you're going to split the other 90% into 45 and 45. 45% of it's going to go towards investments. Now, you might be like me back in the day and be like, I don't know how to invest my money. How do I even start? We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you tons of information in here. You can find anything you want to find on the internet. I mean, you could watch videos, listen to podcasts all about investing. So if you don't know anything about investing, it doesn't have to be hard. Go find something and just start, okay? I think mutual friends are probably your best friend. And then the other 45% you're going to put on your debts, okay? So you're going to know what your debts are. You're just going to take that money and you're going to put it aside. Now, this green gap is probably going to change every single month. If you don't have a budget, start there, create a budget. I didn't want to do a budget. I still don't like doing a budget, but I do like numbers, and I like to know where my money is going, and I like to know where I am excelling. Now, the cool thing about the investment part is that while you're paying down debts, now you actually have money that's growing for you, and you didn't really have to do anything for that. Now, you could go take that money and just put it in a savings account, but I don't know if you've noticed lately, but savings account get SHIT for return, right? At least your mutual fund or whatever you decide to invest in is going to grow for you without you having to do very much, okay? That's simple, easy peasy. Step number 5. Sometimes this can be the hardest step of all of them. You're going to be consistent. That is all. Maybe you start showing up on your social media platforms and start talking about what you're doing. People want to hear your story. People want to hear the vulnerable parts of your story. They want to know what you're doing. They're like, oh, I see she's doing something a little bit different, right? Start taking people on the journey with you, because I promise you, they're probably going to want to be on that journey with you. They're going to want to learn, how did she pay off all that debt that year? How did she start a side business while she was working full time and nursing and pumping and making dinner, right? Sometimes we get in our own way. Be consistent. You have your time that you're going to work your business, your little hustle. You have your maximized time, right? You have your things that when I get in the car, I'm going to listen to this. When I go to bed, I'm going to do this. These are just 5 things that you can start right now, today. You can just start banging them out. And the most important part of all of them is just be consistent, okay? Start to think about your goals and where you want to be. You don't necessarily have to give yourself a time frame, but hey, that's nice, right? That helps you have a measurable goal. We talk a lot about SMART goals. Like, what's your goal? Is it specific enough, right? Like maybe you want to make an extra $2,000 a month. Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it realistic? And is it time bound? Okay, so those are parts of your SMART goal when you start thinking about where you want to be. But I'm telling you guys, this is the first step to you in being in love with your life, and it's going to be the best thing for you. If you want more of this content, if you're like, yes, Gwen, I want to do this, I'm ready, come join me on my Facebook page. I will link it in my comments below so that you guys can just click and join. It is a group that is there for you, that is free content. I am happy to give it to you. I always say, the teacher couldn't become the teacher until the teacher did what they're teaching about. So that's me. I have been through this. I still go through this on the daily. I want to bring to you the knowledge that I've gained, the resources that I've gained, so that we can all go out and change the world. Because I have this feeling, this vision that 2021, like this is the start of the year, 2021 is going to be the catapult for a lot of people. And we collectively have the capacity to do that. You just have to decide and go. Step 1, decide and go. Okay? I love you guys. I am so thankful for you being here. If you know someone else who would love this content, please share. Please click the subscribe button, because I promise to bring you amazing content here. And then head on over to the Facebook page where we can have more communication. We can have more talks. I'm going to be flourishing that group with tons of information for you guys that I have learned and others have taught me, so that you can go ahead and create a life that you are in love with. All right, you guys, have an amazing day. I'll see you over in the group.